The right of the citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. On June 4th, 1919, the Congress passed the 19th Amendment, and on August 18th, 1920, it was ratified. The amendment granted women the right to vote after a 70-year battle that started in 1848 at the Seneca Falls Convention with women like Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott. On November 2nd, 1920, 8 million women voted in the election for the first time ever. The final vote for the ratification was up to 23-year-old Tennessee state legislator Henry T. Byrne, who was convinced to pass it against his opposition by his mother. Mississippi was the last to ratify the amendment, not doing so until March 22, 1984. After World War I, women would continue to defy the boundaries of acceptable female behavior by entering the workforce. They worked jobs like telephone operators, typists, and sales representatives. They were still discriminated against in the workplace and received much less money than men. In the case of Atkins versus Children's Hospital in 1923, the Supreme Court reversed its own reasoning in the Mueller versus Oregon case. Atkins versus Children's Hospital would reverse the special protection and invalidate the minimum wage law given to women from the Mueller versus Oregon case. The court's reasoning for doing so was now that the women had the right to vote, they were equals with men legally. These two cases would spark a debate that would continue throughout the century. This debate was, were women really equal to men, or did they need the protection to be treated equally in the workforce? The flapper is an iconic image of a young woman with bobbed hair, short skirts, who drinks, smokes, and was more sexually liberated than women in the past. She became an image that many young women looked up to during the 1920s. Many women did not become flappers, but were being freed from many of their past burdens with inventions like the washing machine and the vacuum, which would cut housework time in half. New improvements in birth control allowed women to prevent unwanted pregnancies and stayed unfettered. Following World War I in the 1920s, women had been gained the right to vote, enter the workforce, and become more sexually liberated if they wanted. But in reality, the women's right movement was trekking slowly along. They still faced discrimination in the workforce, not getting equal pay or even getting minimum wage. They were looked down upon for looking to the symbolic flapper girl in admiration and were still expected to have children and do housework. Women would still be fighting for equality in America throughout history, heavily in the 60s and 70s, and up to this day with things like the feminist movement. Overall, the 1920s were not a time of significant change in the women's rights movement.